Well, I've got all the track in, as you know, and it's pretty much wired up now. So stay tuned and I'll show you exactly what I've been up to. Well, good evening everyone and welcome back to Piccadilly. Now, as you saw in the last video, all the track is now down. Just pan you round. And you saw all this, I'm sure you did. But we've got an extra bit. Not a lot, but there. So that track, minus this one obviously, because I've just put that there as like a packer to help support the weights. But that now joins up to the upper level. So what I need to do now is just wire it up, and then hopefully it should work. Now the problem I've got is the fact there's a shelf there with some bits and bobs on, and this part here is actually it's not tall enough to get the drill in, so I might have to hand drill that. In fact, I've still got the holes from last time. Hopefully doesn't look as if there's one there this time though, on this side. Maybe the track's moved a little bit, but that'll be easily sorted. But that curve is an awful lot better than it was, and I've got the long radius point in there, curved point, but nevertheless that is an awful lot better than it was before, because you remember it came around there and you had that silly bit coming off. Although most trains coped, I did have a few derailments in this area here, if you remember. But no, that's much better, and I've checked the alignment and everything seems to run fairly well, so I just need to wire it up. But the best bit is the fact, look, I know they look a bit ugly and they will get covered up when it's all ballasted and painted, but the whole lot, apart from that new bit, is wired up. So yes, they don't look great, but at the end of the day, like I said, once it's ballasted, you won't see them or notice them much anyway. But I can run trains. Well, it's finally all wired up. Now things do look a bit of a mess at the moment, like I said, but it'll all be sorted out. But I'm just so relieved that that's done. And just to show you that the lift works and it doesn't catch the tracks. So that's what I'm quite pleased about. I know it's sort of lifted up this shed itself, but that'll be sorted once the hinge goes in, which is sort of down the back there. Now you might have noticed this little bit here, because I've obviously got this siding running along the side here, which used to be a reverse loop, if you remember. So what I will do, and it might not be straight away, but I will put a point in there, because that fits the geometry quite well there, and have just a straightish piece just to join those two together, and then that will be back onto the same polarity as the rest of the track. Right, welcome back. Now, I know in the last clip I said I probably would leave this for a few weeks, but to be honest with you, it just makes sense to just get it in and get it done, because I'm in the process of obviously laying the track and getting it all wired up, and if I abandon that and come back to it, chances are it may not get done for a while. So I might as well show you this again. I have done this in a previous video, but I've sort of developed a slightly new method, and that's using a marker pen. This one just happens to be a dry white marker pen, but I mean, you could use a permanent one, because you probably end up using the track rubber over the top to get rid of the actual pen ink itself. Now I'm placing the point where I want it, and the geometry on this works out absolutely beautifully. So I'm going to cut it just before that dropper there, and obviously have a line going in to join up with that point, or that bit just there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just support over the top and then draw a line onto the track surface like that. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Like that. longer, like that. So when I remove it, I can now see exactly where the point finishes, okay? So right, I just thought I'd point something out to you. I had an interesting thought. When I first put this track in, it was intended to be a reversing loop, and so that trains could come round this big, just pan you up, this big circle, if you remember, that I had all the way around here, and then the tracks came back round again, if you remember. So a train could come out the shed and either go in either direction, clockwise or anti-clockwise, partly using this loop and partly going around as it was, if you remember. But it meant I had to put a manual polarity switch on, so I had it set so the trains were going this way, it go that way, and you push this way if the trains were going that way. Yeah. Now it would be foolish to leave this in, because this becomes the same polarity as the rest of the track. Now, just in case anybody is wanting to put one of these in, and you can obviously use one of those automated electronic systems, which, you know, they're absolutely brilliant. But I wanted to keep costs down, and this switch was only £2 or £3, and obviously I had to buy a mounting plate, and then I just glued it in with some Aldite. Yeah, so that was it, or some hot glue, I think it was actually, to hold that firmly in place, and you can see it really worked. But you'll notice you've got these 6 terminals here, so your power comes in one end and attaches to one end of the terminals. It doesn't matter which end. And then what you do is you then join the one wire to the opposite side and the other wire to the opposite side, so you've got this crossover, and that way you get the opposite polarity, if you like. And then what happens is, when the switch is in the down position like that, these two are connected to the middle, and then when it's in that situation, these two are connected. So this is the power coming in, and then the middle two are your power going out, so which is the flippable alternating one. Okay, I hope that makes some sense, but if you're not sure about that, just get back to me and I'll do my best to help you. All right. Well, there you go. After 5 extra days now of wiring and extra track laying, it's finally all done in this first part of this second phase. So that is now, you saw the track all down, that's all wired as I said. This part is now in and wired up. This is now in and wired up, so all that works. The only one thing I do need to do on the bottom level is extend that track, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to leave that a few weeks and do that later. And I've just realised I've made a boo-boo, which is not big one by any means. It just means a little bit of extra work. I forgot to put that point in there, and because I've made that quite curvy, it's the medium radius points that I was going to use. Those sort of points are not going to fit, so it means I have to get a hold of a couple of large curved radius points. But I think what I'll do is I'll leave that for a little while and do it at another point. It won't be a big job. I could do that in say a morning or something like that, get those wired up, so it won't be a problem. But the rest of it, like I said, is all wired up. So do you want to see some trains running them? Well, I hope you enjoyed that little running session there, and as you've seen, the track's pretty much wired up now. The only thing I do need to do is to put the little siding in, which runs just down the side here, this side of the main line, and obviously the upper level, which will come across, but that won't be yet. That'll be, I'm going to leave that for a few months and then do that later as another project. I think it'll be too much right now. Anyway, there'll be 2 videos appearing on your screen right now, so please do take a look at those to the very end, and I'll join you again here on Piccadilly very soon. Bye for now.